I know my everydayers out there have been waiting for this, and maybe some others who listen not every day, but a lot of days have too. It's time for my SEC preseason power rankings. I've hit the ACC, I've hit the Big 12, I've hit the Big 10, gotten thoughts from others on all of them. I'll get thoughts from others on the SEC, but for now, my unfiltered, unobstructed opinion about where teams should be going into this year. So, first, I'm starting with the reigning SEC champs. Who's going to object to Georgia? Really? Is anyone going to object if you put Georgia in the 1 slot? Maybe you want to put them in the 2 or the 3 slot. You can't put them outside of the top 3. Frankly, I don't know how you'd put them in the 3 slot. Now, Gunnar Stockton hasn't played a lot of football, but he's played some football. I know Kirby Smart's a really good coach. I mean, he said earlier this year that he felt last year was the best coaching job he and his staff have ever done. He's probably right. Last year's roster was not as dominant as past Georgia teams have been. So, to know that Kirby Smart is still a good enough coach, to know that the program is winning double-digit games every single year, that's the floor, and to know they have a quarterback who I at least know something about. I feel like I know as much about Gunnar Stockton as I do about Arch Manning at Texas, where I know the potential is there. I've seen them in real games do some nice stuff. I haven't seen them do it for a full season. Now, that's a theme in the SEC, of course. So, Georgia is first, and oh, funny, I mentioned Arch Manning. That wasn't an accident because Texas is second. I really like Texas. Among my favorite teams to make the national championship game this year, Texas is in there. It just hinges on one guy. I know Steve Sarkisian's a good enough head coach. He wasn't when he first broke into the head coaching ranks of college football. He is now. I know that Texas's defense is going to be good enough. That front four, led by Colin Simmons, you have Anthony Hill Jr. up there as a part of a nasty front seven. They've got enough returning from last year's team that was not as good as Ohio State, but still really darn good, and was still close to going to the national championship game. If Arch Manning is good, Texas is going to be really good. Now, they have questions along the offensive line. Yes, they're replacing several pieces from last year's unit. Okay, sure, that's a question. Has Texas recruited poorly? No. Texas has not recruited poorly. I think they're going to be just fine. I've got them number 2. Number 3, this is a coaching pick, and this is a determining factor in a number of my preseason SEC power rankings. Who's your head coach, and how much do I trust him? I almost put Alabama at number 2. I don't know about Ty Simpson. I don't dislike him. I like him less than Arch Manning. However, I'm a big Kalen DeBoer fan. And last year was a failure of a first season for him in Tuscaloosa. You can't win fewer than 10 games in Alabama. I don't care what season it is. I don't care what year it is. I don't care the context. Nothing. Nick Saban did not leave Kalen DeBoer, a roster that should have gone 9-3 and lose a bowl game to Michigan, but they did. That was a failure of a first season. It doesn't mean he's going to be a failure of a head coach. This is not someone who has to win 10 or more games in order to save his job. He'll get at least 3 seasons, just like most other coaches in the SEC and college football writ large. I think he'll last well beyond that. Kalen DeBoer is a winner. Go look at his track record. His first year at Washington, he lost to a 3-9 Arizona State team. 3-9. They went 3-9. Their quarterback was Trenton Bourguet, a walk-on. That's who beat Kalen DeBoer's team that went 11-2 in his first season at Washington. His second year, undefeated, made the national championship game, a game that Washington has never reached before. They have national championships back before we played a national championship game. But in the modern era, Washington had never been there before. He got them there in his second season. I'm not sure. I need to see Ty Simpson in a game before I pick Alabama there. I am so tempted to pick them to be a Final Four or maybe even a national championship team. DeBoer's that good. He's got Ryan Grubb back as his offensive coordinator. I like Alabama a lot. I think they're going to be better on defense than they were a season ago, and they had some key letdowns, but they got better in the second half of the year. I think they'll be all right. LSU at number 4. Top-ranked transfer portal class. My favorite quarterback in the SEC, Garrett Nussmeier. Pressure on Brian Kelly to at least get to the playoff. I don't think it's to win a national championship. LSU needs to get to the playoff. If they don't, I don't think you're firing Brian Kelly, but I think you're increasing the temperature of his seat going into next season. This isn't a guy who's failed to win. He's not Lincoln Riley at USC getting worse each year. He's not Hugh Freeze at Auburn, who has to win a certain number of games or he's fired, or you could apply that to Brent Venables at Oklahoma as well. Like, he's not in that camp of coaches because he has won a pretty good amount. He's made a conference championship game. LSU should get to the playoff. Veteran quarterback, plenty of talent, great transfer portal haul. LSU should make the playoff this year. I don't care what the schedule looks like. It shouldn't matter if you're doing things right down there in Baton Rouge. Number 5, everybody's favorite late season, make a run, get into the playoff team last year, South Carolina. I like Shane Beamer. If I were to rank SEC coaches on game day, Sark would be pretty high, Kirby Smart would be high, Shane Beamer would be really high. And he has quietly done a really good job recruiting and retaining talent. There was a story in On3 this offseason that Dylan Stewart, their star edge player, was courted by other schools, and he said, "No, I'm sticking around. I'm staying here." And that's a guy who you build a defense around. 6.5 sacks in his freshman season as a Gamecock. He's back. Lenore Sellers is one of the most exciting players in college football. That guy's got real Heisman potential. I don't know if he does it this year. Nick Harbor, former 5-star recruit, who's just a football player, frankly, could play either way. He could play defensive end, tight end, H-back. You could hand him the ball. I bet he could throw the ball if you really wanted him to. I like South Carolina, and I think Shane Beamer's a darn good coach. I feel really good, actually, putting the Gamecocks there at number 5. I almost put them above LSU. Almost. But I do trust Nussmeier a little bit more than Sellers at this point in time. You never know. That could change. Next on the list. This is where it got tough. I went through making these rankings. The top 5 to me were pretty easy. Like, I didn't struggle a lot with those teams. I did with the next few. So next in this spot, I have Oklahoma. I think there are plenty of people that would put Florida here. That to me is a little bit of late season recency bias. If you want to make that case with South Carolina, okay, fine. I like Shane Beamer a lot more than I like Billy Napier as a coach by a sizable amount. Billy Napier is underachieving at Florida. Shane Beamer is doing no such thing at South Carolina. And I know that the Gators got hot and they beat Ole Miss. And, of course, Florida State was terrible. And they did a lot of really good things. And Florida's not way down in the power rankings for me here. And I almost had them above the next team. But, again, I'll come back to the coaching aspect. I'm not the biggest Brent Venables fan. I do like John Mateer. I have questions about John Mateer. But Brent Venables' defense last year was good. The offense, atrocious. New OC, new quarterback, who at the very least is going to make some plays with his legs and is going to excite the Sooner fan base. So I think that Oklahoma is in a pressure spot for Brent Venables. If he misses a bowl game this year or goes 6-6 again, he might be shown the door. And you know what? I wouldn't push back in the slightest. In his regular seasons, let me take out the bowl games for a moment because those can get weird. Quarterbacks opt out, all that stuff. 6 wins, 10 wins, 6 wins. Sorry, that I don't care what conference you're in. That's not Oklahoma Sooner football. That looks like a guy who's overmatched rather than elevating the program to where your rival is, who's making back-to-back semifinals in the sport. Oklahoma and Texas shouldn't be a big difference between those two. Slide edge Texas, the gap is way too wide. Way too wide when you're talking about the actual results that those teams are achieving outside of Red River each year. I do like Oklahoma. I question John Mateer. I question Lenore Sellers a little less because I've seen him do it in the SEC. I think Mateer's got plenty of potential, arm talent, moves, size. There's going to be an adjustment phase. Week 2 against Michigan, Oklahoma got to win that football game. Got to win that football game. Rounding it out, and I'll continue discussing this throughout the week, Ole Miss, then Florida. This is the coaching gap. And by the way, my next 3 teams are Ole Miss, Florida, Texas A&M. If you gave me a list with these 4, if you made your own power rankings and you said, I have Texas A&M first, then Florida, then Oklahoma, then Ole Miss. I wouldn't push back. I really wouldn't. Like these four to me are essentially a tie. I like Mike Elko a lot. I think Marcel Reed is good. I think the Texas A&M roster is good. I think all of those things. I have Florida slightly above them because I like DJ Lagway more than I like Marcel Reed, because DJ Lagway, boy, you talk about somebody with real 5-star potential who is showcased. If Florida gets the most out of him, that could save Billy Napier's bacon, and that, of course, being his job. I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll see. We will see. Because don't forget, Billy Napier got hot at the end of last year. He also, in the first 3 weeks of the season, got housed at home by Texas A&M, who was good, not great, and Miami, who was good, not great. Got destroyed. Don't forget all of that. So those four, to me, pretty interchangeable. Then Tennessee would be higher on this list, but I have them at the top of the next crop of teams, the final crop of teams, really, because I trust Josh Heupel. I like Josh Heupel. This is a guy who's won with several different quarterbacks. He's got a quarterback-friendly offense. He doesn't have Nico. He's got Joey Aguilar. We'll see how it goes. I think the rest of the roster is quite good, but the quarterback, ooh, boy, if they still had Nico, I'd probably have Tennessee above Oklahoma. Probably. But they don't, and so I do not. And rounding out the list, Missouri, then Auburn, those two pretty interchangeable. Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky. Vanderbilt, not last. Anybody that ranks Vanderbilt last in the power rankings is thinking it's still 2015. That's a Vanderbilt program that beat Alabama and Auburn last year. Diego Pavia's back, and Clark Lee's going for a second straight winning season. I am here for it. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.